BigCommerce just released an impressive new feature for their B2B Edition, and that is tracking company hierarchies. In other words, business units or even franchises. You no longer have to manually work through these relationships, try to figure out what aligns to what, or worse, have an entire large organization under one singular company account. And so in this video, I'm going to answer all your questions through a brief demo about how to use this feature to ultimately make your salespeople and your customers' lives easier. And if there's something else that you want to know further about this feature, drop me a comment below, and I promise to respond swiftly.
Okay, I see what you did there.
While organizing these company relationships and subsidiaries isn't going to be applicable for every one of your customers, the most significant boost is your larger customers, who will likely be transacting the highest volume. So that's going to include large enterprises with multiple subsidiaries, divisions, or geographical locations. Franchises managing their franchisees could include government organizations or even construction companies with varying job sites and projects. It could also be extended to include organizations with complex approval workflows. To be honest, I'm a little surprised as to how robust this feature was implemented, and I'm comparing it with the same idea recently built on Adobe Commerce last year, and BigCommerce's tool has very few functional gaps. If you're in a hurry and you want a quick overview, I would like to indulge you first, and then we will jump into the demo later. So let's look at the pros. BigCommerce did really well with an easy to learn user interface. Change management is going to be super easy. You can assemble hierarchies with existing companies. Each company can have a separate price list. That's a win. Permissions are configurable to give fine-grained control over seeing what's in the child accounts on a global level, not per customer. Customers can also switch between accounts on the front end. That's pretty cool. And these features are also available from the API, so you can replicate this structure from your CRM or ERP. Now, what are the downsides that I'm seeing at this point? So let's look at the cons. Number one, there is no way to inherit settings like the payment configuration from company down to subsidiary. And I'm guessing it's related, but your customers can't create or manage sub-companies themselves. So yeah, there's gonna be more load on admins. Overall, I consider these reasonably minor in the grand scheme of things, and I think BigCommerce did a fabulous job building out this feature. So if you're ready, let's do a demo to see how this works for you. I'm going to start out in the admin section in the B2B Edition area. Navigate down to companies, and you're going to see that this page roughly looks the same. I have a couple that I've dropped here into a hierarchy, and you can see here the parent and the child. So let's start by clicking on the parent company. Now, there is a field here in this company view that's very easy to overlook, and that is the parent company field. This is important because if I wish to make a current company a subsidiary of another, I simply select the new parent company. Done. And don't forget that each company can have a price list for each channel. Very high granularity here. This is also a good time to note that companies don't inherit their settings from their parent, as I said, and what I would consider as a bit of a negative. So price list, addresses, etc. are not inherited from the parent level. I hope this feature is added eventually. There is more setup and more management time. For example, if the subsidiaries all have different settings, it's going to take a little bit more time at this point. So let's move over to the hierarchy tab, and you can see that we can add a new company here, but again, you can't assign an existing company. So that happens in the parent company field in the first tab. On to the to-be subsidiary account. So this page provides a nice overview of how companies are related. You can have up to 5 layers deep here, so plenty of optionality at this point. But while we're here, I must call out that these payment terms are still problematic. So while they say you can have a credit limit of your choice, that is per order. It doesn't work with invoices or payment dates to ensure that the credit limit is within the payment window. And this certainly does not, unfortunately, roll down to subsidiaries. I hope that changes here in the future. Next, I'd like to show a critical update to the roles tab. So by default, the admin role has no subsidiary access. You must create a new one actually, and I I like to call it a super admin, to manage the child accounts. So this is not necessary, and if it doesn't happen, the admin can't see what's going on in the child accounts. It's literally a permission set above the normal admin user role. So this permission set is available to all companies, and that's an important thing to note. So I can definitely see some cases where you would not want some companies having this super admin role, but that's just out of our control to be able to modify that easily at this point. It is modifiable in the code, but not much past that. Before we jump into the front end, you may ask, so how do we associate all the subsidiaries if they are already here as separate companies? You have 50 different companies, perhaps they're franchises, you have the parent and all the different franchises spread out, they're all separate buyers. How do you bring all this together? Well, the answer is import and export. Unfortunately, though, the company export doesn't actually include this information, but I'm going to drop a link in the comments below so you can see how to add the column super easy in Google Sheets, and then you just import the parent company ID. It's a manual process, but it should be faster than going through the admin and manually configuring all of these settings. Now, you ready to jump into the front end? Let's take it for a spin. So I am logged into the parent user account here. It's pretty simple. Looks pretty much the same, but there is a notable change here, and that is the company selector. I can see each subsidiary right here. I can select and make orders at this level. So when I select a different subsidiary, I am actually then representing this other company, and I can see that orange box right here in the lower corner. I can select company orders, and I see which company placed each order, and I can even filter by the company. The same also goes for invoices, quotes, and shopping lists. I can also create new users, and it's important to note that this new user will be added to whatever company I'm representing at the moment. Finally, I can then visualize the different companies here in this tab. It's pretty simple. So you're probably asking though, can a new subsidiary be created on the front end? I have not found a way to do that. All companies must be created in the admin, and I'm guessing this is back to this idea where settings cannot be cascaded down to subsidiaries like the price list, so it ensures it can be properly configured. So there's the lowdown on company hierarchies in BigCommerce. It will make your life easier and more intelligent as you work with your customers. BigCommerce really has been iterating quite quickly, and while this feature I wouldn't consider it a game changer, it's pretty darn close to actually being a game changer. If you want to move to BigCommerce, or maybe you need a little BigCommerce support, we would be honored to be your partner. We're a preferred BigCommerce partner with a lot of experience on this platform. One of our key differentiators is our thought leadership. We have your back, and we make tremendous investments to see you succeed. Shoot me an email, joseph@swiftotter.com, and I would love to personally introduce you to the team.